Hansen is on the record as well, and you touched a little bit on your history with him. Can you tell us a little bit about like when you first saw the New York Dolls? I imagine you saw them. Did Aerosmith tour with the Dolls back in the day?
Uh-huh.
You remember it at all?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was your take on the New York Dolls when you first saw them?
I figured we're going to have to start wearing tutus. I mean, in high heels. It was actually I think it was the second or third time we were auditioning at Max's Kansas City in New York. You know, that's kind of what you did back then. You'd go in and you'd play, and record people would show up and, you know, try and get a record deal or whatever. And we were doing the sound check, and these guys walk in, and they're like, you know, wearing spandex and glitter, but so, I mean, really, really punk, and I mean, there was no question that they were, you know, macho fucking New York punks, man. Even though they were wearing high heels and all that, you know, the big hair and lipstick and all that. And this was at 3 PM, and they were checking us out because we had just been signed by the same management company, so we were basically stablemates, you know, and we'd never met them before, except they were getting all this amazing press. I mean, they're face it, they were a great band, and they were getting all the press. And with this band from Boston came down to try and make some noise. So they're checking us out, we're checking them out, and we're thinking, well, this is the new big thing, and you know, we're figuring what are we going to do now? You know, go to the Mac wasn't around then, the Chanel store, and get some makeup or whatever. But we were more concerned about strings and shit and tuning and stuff. So, but you know, I loved them immediately. I mean, we did our gig that night at Max's, and then we went down to the Mercer Art Center and watched them play. And they were great. You know, they were playing all that stuff off the first record, and you know, they knocked me out. And,
could they play though, Joe? You know, you bring up a good point, because you said you were more concerned about your strings and being in tune or whatever you said. I mean, I never saw the New York Dolls. They were a little before my time, but a lot of people said that it was the experience, it was the vibe, it was the attitude. But when you really came down to it, and especially in their earliest gigs, they got by on all that and the look, because they really weren't a great band in terms of players, and that's probably where you guys in Aerosmith probably had a big part of the upper hand. But did you feel that, or did you feel that they were a good band as players and musicians as well?
Well, it's all relative. I mean, if they can put a song across, anybody can play 3 chords. If they add something to it and make it theirs,
right?
Then it's good. It's not about, like, you know, well, can you play this scale or that scale, or you know, you're playing with a broken string, brother. You know, it's about if you can project the song. And as a band, they had some pretty fucking cool songs, and they put them across great, and they were a great show. And you know, I mean, it was a great. They were real, you know, right on the edge. It was really good. And I mean, the critics were calling them the new Rolling Stones, all this other stuff. Didn't matter, man, about technique, or if you could, like I said, if you know, a pentatonic from a supersonic, whatever, you know. And they just went out there and they rocked. They didn't give a shit. I loved that attitude, and their songs were great. David's a great singer. I mean, he puts so much musicality into it. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it was really a dream to work with these guys. I mean, each one they're all guys I listen to all the time. I listen to their records, you know, and also just knowing them, you know, over the years, except for Terry, he was like in a class by himself, you know, coming from that era, you know. So every one of them, it was, if it was just one of them on the record, it would have been enough. But to get you know, I don't know how many, 5 guys. Man, it blows my mind when I think about it. It's like, but it happened, you know, over a course of time, you know, a couple of months.